Hello and welcome to another Around the Lens interview. I'm joined by actress and filmmaker Isabel Lamars. Hello, Isabel. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Dave?
I am great. So today we're talking about your film Kaya. Is that correct?
That is correct. I hope so.
Awesome. Unless there's another film I don't know about, but no, it's great to have you on and talk about this film. It seems like a film that's very near and dear to your heart. Can you talk to me about kind of the genesis of it and how it came to be?
Yeah, the film is basically my origin story. It talks a lot about my mixed race identity and how that was kind of a struggle in my life. And I think being that it's my first short, I wanted it to just be very personal. So like a story that, or maybe only I would be telling and would want to tell. So yeah, I tried to stay as close as possible to the core of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, it felt like something very personal. Kind of for the audience who may or not have seen the short yet, kind of give us sort of the breakdown of it. What's the log line? What's it about?
Well, it's funny because the short pitch of it is Filipino Karate Kid.
Yeah.
That was also our working title, but it's basically about half Filipina kickboxer Nia who wants to join a Filipino martial arts team, essentially to prove that she is Filipino enough, if
hmm
you can ever prove that. But yeah,
Yeah, and I was looking up, I was trying to research the name of the stick fighting, and I saw it has like multiple different names. Can you tell
yeah.
me what's it called exactly?
In the Philippines, we call it arnis, but it's
Arnis.
known as Kali as well. I think there's more names. Well, that are the essential two names, but Filipino martial arts is an overarching term like MMA for the different versions of martial arts within it. So there's a type of Filipino boxing. Yeah, there's a type of grappling as well. So those are all covered under FMA.
Okay, very cool. And one of the big subjects and obviously key themes of the film is sort of a racism, if you will, in where, you do a great job of exploring this sort of stuck in the middle, if you will. And I think it's very kind of similar to a lot of people who like are half race, right? They don't
Mhm.
feel like they're one race or the other race. How is that for you growing up, and how did you channel that into your first film?
Yeah, it feels like you never really belong or are accepted into a culture, and I thought a lot of people could actually relate to that in a reverse, like you were saying, like it's a kind of reverse version of it,
hmm
because in the Philippines, being white usually, as opposed to like the standard definition of racism, it doesn't make you like a lower class, it makes you a higher class. So there's nothing really to complain about in Nia's situation. It should be nice for her, but then it isn't because she wants to be part of her culture and of her community, but in a way she's not. And so yeah, I think that was basically what I was trying to, in a delicate way, obviously, talk about because I don't want to point any fingers or anything. It was more a kind of showing a different perspective of how it's like because I think a lot of, for example, Asian Americans who grew up in the States who are fully American
hmm
experience that in the other version of right, like asking, so where are you actually from? Because
hmm
it is in a way a lookism, right? It's like
Sure.
discriminating or putting people in boxes based on how they look. And so that is the uniting thing that I think a lot of people might have had in a different way. Like if you
hmm
look strange for some other reason, strange quote unquote, like you don't know, some people perceive you in a certain way and then they will think something. And that is what this is pointing to, that it can be so much bigger than and so much more affecting the people that are a victim of those lookism based judgments than we think it is, even if it could be perceived as a good thing like in the Philippines.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, you do a great job of kind of highlighting that, yes, you do have a desired trait amongst the Filipino people, but
Hmm.
it still ostracizes you amongst the regular folks where it's like, yeah, oh, you have this thing, but it elevates you to a degree you don't want to be elevated, and you face a lot of pushback from your
Hmm.
martial arts instructor, and you can't seem to get any sort of headway unless you meet them at their level, which is through training and becoming better at this martial art. So talk to me a little bit about that, what went into that for the film and your own personal martial arts experience.
Yeah, I originally started with judo and karate. I, for a long time, didn't even know that there was a Filipino martial arts. So similar to Nia, that journey was kind of interesting for me, knowing that I have like an own martial arts that I could claim as part of my identity. It was very interesting because I only learned about it in the States and not in the Philippines.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was great to learn that. I started actually more intensely with kickboxing. So I did these, classic martial arts as a kid, and then when I was older, I was training kickboxing, and then I discovered FMA. So I started training about a year before the film.
Wow.
And then obviously had to go more intense for the movie. But thankfully, unlike the other characters in the film, Nia is like the least experienced one.
Hmm.
So, I trained really hard, but at the same time, it should be realistic. Like she shouldn't look like she's been training for years because she
Right.
hasn't, so
Yeah, from a story perspective, I was trying to understand where she was at in her sort of martial arts training because
uh-huh.
you learn early on that she's new to the art, but she knows enough about it to like spar with someone, but she needs more training to obviously excel. So,
Hmm.
within the context of the story, is she sort of just a beginner at the start? Is that kind of the
Hmm.
context?
Yeah, in FMA, so in the Arnis, the stick fighting, she's a complete beginner. That's why
Okay.
in the first scenes she wields it like kind of like an idiot, quote unquote.
Hmm.
It's me, so I can talk about that. But she's supposed to basically, how someone would just throw a stick at someone or like try to fight with
Right.
a weapon that they've never used. So
Sure.
that's how she's supposed to look like.
So she's kind of like she's interested in it. She's heard about it. Maybe she's seen
Mhm.
people do it, and now she's finally picking up the sticks and saying like, "All right, let's do this. I can do this.
Uh-huh.
I've done martial arts before. How hard can it be?" Right?
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
part of the character trait that I think that for Angel, the gym owner, is kind of frustrating because it's like, oh, this white girl comes waltzing in and thinks she can just
Mhm.
do our ancient martial art out of nowhere. Like who do you think you are? Is basically the approach to it. And Nia is maybe arrogant or stubborn enough or just, confident enough to want to do it. And so that's how she gets herself involved and sticks to it and tries to train and has to like rein back her whole maybe let's say impatient kickboxing attitude because Filipino martial arts is more delicate, than just
Yeah.
like throwing punches at someone.
Right. You know, the film evolves over time, and you pack in a lot in a short amount of time. I gotta say, it's like like you said, the Karate Kid film, but in like a super duper short amount of time. So
Yeah.
you introduce obviously her inability to do the martial art, and then her protege, or I would not protege, her master or her trainer. I guess we
Hmm.
find out the male lead. And I was thinking as I was watching this, is she trying to set up a love story here? Is there like, is that a sort of like, if you were to take this to the feature length route, would
Uh-huh.
there be that eventual like love story kind of idea, or is that like too cliche?
It's interesting. What did you think?
I thought there was going to be something going on there, but I also knew it was like a 12-minute film. But I also knew I saw the trailer and I knew like, okay, the mom is giving him something about, oh, don't be aggressive. Boys don't like that type of thing. So I thought, if you were to make this longer, I would think that would be a natural progression between those two characters over time.
It's interesting because I played with that idea, but for me, one of the key things was that what I've experienced as a woman, especially in martial arts, is that people don't think men and women can be friends. And that's why
Uh,
also our character, Malik specifically, is queer.
okay.
And we haven't defined it more than that because I am leaving that for the feature, but
Sure.
it's not going to be a love story as such. It's more
Okay.
of a friendship. But
It, I don't think there's
everyone
anything wrong with
perceives
that.
him as that, and that's also the mother will eventually meet Malik and
Mhm.
her alarm bells will go like, oh my God, you can't, this is, and because like in a Filipino point of view for her, she wanted her to upgrade and
Mhm.
go, to the, I'd say, wider version of the
Mhm.
things she can go to. So that,
Right.
that will be a topic for the feature.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it could go either way, and I think it's not a wrong thing to not have a
Hmm.
love story or to not make
Hmm.
it the obvious, because then you get into very cliche territory of like, oh yeah, obviously.
Yes.
I mean, you could still easily include a love story in a feature film that, could be a complete outsider or could be someone else completely, that's maybe supporting her and watching her from the
Mhm.
sidelines and rooting her on. I mean, that's another way to kind of approach that concept. But no, I liked the chemistry between you two as friends. And I
Mhm.
thought, you did a great job of portraying that training, right? That training montage, so to speak. Because again, you did have to fit a lot into a short amount of time to include quieter moments like at the salon, right, where they're
Yeah.
they're getting sort of done up and whatnot.
It's
Talk to me
interesting
about,
you say salon because you're not the first person who says that, but it's actually in their living room.
is it their living room? Okay,
Yeah,
it
because
looked like a salon.
it's very a typical thing of the Philippines that you would have the nail ladies come into your house.
Ah, I see.
So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
a
Interesting.
it's a
Nail
look,
lady
yeah.
making house calls. That's yeah, it's definitely something culturally different. And you do touch on, Filipino culture, like you mentioned the concept of Filipino time, right? Which is, being a little bit late, I guess. Talk to me about that sort of desire to integrate your culture into the film and kind of how you would expand on that in maybe a feature length setting.
Yeah, and we have a lot of those little I'd say little hints
Hmm.
to the culture in there. I just wanted it to just be really authentic and based in where we are because we filmed in the Philippines, but also just to share something with the world that they might not usually see. I mean, like you usually don't watch too many movies from the Philippines if you're not somehow related to the Philippines or something.
Right.
So I just wanted to sprinkle that in, but not in a like obvious look at this is so different kind of thing, because
Sure.
that for me it feels like a foreigner perspective again.
Right.
But it's just kind of there, like just the things of how her aunties talk to her and how everyone's just there and commenting on her when they bickering when they come home and stuff like that that are just normal for us and might seem like new for someone else. But like the Filipino time was the only one where I kind of put it out in like spelled it out, I think, where she kind of jokes about the thing of like, you think I'm not Filipino, but I do know certain things. But there's even gestures that could be very Filipino, like pointing with the lips is something that Nia does at certain points. And yeah, I think they're really important to just show how entrenched she is in her culture without looking the part. But she still is, but she doesn't look it. So yeah, that was kind of important.
Right. No, absolutely. And I'm guessing you shot this in the Philippines, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It definitely looked authentic, but I wanted to make sure. And so going into that, what were some of the considerations you were taking from a cinematography perspective to kind of represent, the country and the location authentically? And I also liked the mirror shot you had in the bedroom. I thought that was very
Yes.
creative. So kudos to your cinematographer for, that or whoever thought of that shot. So
Hmm.
yeah, what kind of went into, how you shot the film?
So we had very early discussions in pre-prod, even when, going through locations, we did search locations with those mirrors because we wanted, for me, like one of the key principles of the film is how others perceive you, right? And so what is better than the reflection through a mirror? So a
Sure.
lot of times, even in the beginning, in the fight scene, when she confronts Angel, there is a mirror that reflects her back.
Oh.
And she is always, we decided to always, that was the cinematographer's, I think, I don't know if it's hard to keep track, but I think we were both on in line with keeping her off center for the whole film until the very last shot. So I'm not sure if you noticed that as well, but like she's always kind of off center, which shows the imbalance and not being centered in herself
Mm.
until the very end in the final shot where she's finally front center. She's not perceived through a mirror or through someone else's point of view, but she's just there. She's present and centered. So that was one of the things we really paid attention to in the whole filming and in the location scouting. And then making it Filipino, I think, wasn't really an issue since we were in the Philippines. But I
Hmm.
think one of the things, like in color grading, for instance, that we and light, for instance, we tried to bring the heat in to the picture because like the heat and the feeling of the heat, even the smells, is it's very grounded in how you feel when you're in the Philippines, the tropics
Hmm.
and everything. So it does create a different vibe. And we just wanted that to come across so that it feels like another world that people might want to explore, and
Yeah.
then the grit, of course, and because we were filming in Manila, we had to put a lot of traffic noise in.
Oh, of course, of
Because,
course.
similar to LA maybe, but like in the Philippines and Manila specifically, traffic is the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something you could probably even expand upon further in a sort of feature length
Yep,
version of this film where you get more shots of the city or more shots of the
for sure.
environment that kind of really like make you know like you are in the Philippines, like this
Yeah.
is where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like a short, like we didn't have, like all of that is going to be part of the feature, but it's
Sure.
like even the street scene was like super short. There was one tiny street scene, although I had like way more planned. Like we had a bridge, a scene on the bridge passing through, over the Pasig River and all these things where you would actually see a bit more, but
Yeah.
you know, what can
There's
you
only
do?
so much you can do in the amount of time you have. I know,
Exactly.
right?
It's
No,
like, I mean, it was intended as a proof of concept, so
right.
I tried to just tease her a bit.
No, it's great. I mean, it's a really strong vertical slice of what the entire film could represent.
Mhm.
So, the film ends with a pretty, intense fight scene. Talk to me about what went into getting that fight scene both practiced, filmed, and, also done safely.
Um, Safely. It was,
Hopefully safely.
I mean, like since
No
we
broken
were
bones, I hope.
no one broke their bones. No, we did have some splinters in our feet because at the end of the day, we didn't have gym mats, so we had to
Oh,
like
okay.
do it on the ground, which is very realistic. And since the other actress and me were fine with it, we went for it. But it took a lot of training. I did the pre-production and the previs here in LA with Lauren Mary Kim, who's like a huge stunt actress and stunt coordinator here in Hollywood. And then so we had those like the shots set out, and we found out like through that learned what we needed to train with our DP when we're in the Philippines. So we went through rehearsals, of course, with Kaylee Carrigan, who's our stunt actress who's playing Angel. And she actually is a stunt performer first and then actor, started to transition into acting. I'm not sure if that was her first acting gig actually, and
Oh,
then,
wow.
or it was at the same time with one other acting gig, I think. But so we went stunt first because of that, because this last fight is so huge.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was just not possible to have someone else who isn't more fight experienced portray someone who is like the owner of a gym. So yeah, we did several hours of training
Mhm.
before. At the end of the day, it was mostly our stunt coordinator on set, which was Nico Ramirez, who was training the actors because I already had the choreo locked in before I went to the Philippines, so I could focus on pre-production and all those things.
Yeah.
But eventually, yeah, we did like a week before the first shooting day, we did a rehearsal, action rehearsal with camera and me and the other actress just to get it all done because we had one day for all the fights and the training scenes.
Oh, wow.
So it
Okay.
was, yeah.
Yeah,
I have
I
to say
guess.
one day in the Philippines is a 16-hour shoot day. So
Oh my gosh. Wow.
yeah.
Talk to me a little about from like the technical perspective, how many
Mhm.
shoot days was it total? How long overall from beginning to actual completion was the whole production process? And what did you shoot on?
We shot on a red Raptor. Our DP wanted an RE, but we didn't get one.
Oh,
But we had the great support of RSVP in the Philippines, who kind of like sponsored most of our equipment. So that was great. And then we kind of had to like strike these deals. We had 2 shooting days, and our DP wanted, of course, everything she, needed.
mhm.
And so RSVP was telling us, especially Rafa, who's our exec producer there, he was like, guys, this is kind of expensive. Can we like do a little deal? So we basically had the wireless equipment for day one for the fights so that we didn't have to carry and shuffle around the gear. And then day two, we had to do without. So it was funny that we had to cram everything into day one. So we started basically at 6 a.m. with 2 fights that almost took all of the day because the first fight is 2.5 minutes long when we
Yeah.
like planned it. And so yeah, that took a long time. And then our actor Malik EJ Lipana isn't a fighter by training. So it took longer for that too because we'd have to do more takes to sell the hits and everything. And then we went into all the training scenes. And also there, because of his fight training, our fight choreographer was there the whole time and was like, okay, we have to sell this, this, and this, and this. So yeah, it took 2 days. Again, it's 16-hour shoot days in the Philippines. The last day, I think we went over by maybe an hour. But otherwise, we stuck with our time. And again, when we went 1 hour over, it was more like, okay, is everyone okay? Can we do this? So at the end, we just had like a few takes per scene.
Yeah.
So it was very like go, go, go for us those 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. I
'Cause
mean,
that's all we
16
could afford.
hours, that's a long day. I mean, like
Yeah.
I've done 12-hour days, 12 plus hour days. I know I think I've done 16-hour days and I'm like, whew, and kudos to your crew and everybody for,
Yeah.
you know, being able to do all that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
kind of standard in the Philippines. I tried to get like, half day or like 8-hour day or something and then
sure.
just split it up. But basically the rates were the same.
Oh, okay.
So you would have to pay the same, like you would have to pay 4 times as much if you would, split it
Yeah.
up.
Oh my God.
So yeah, but it was like basically an interesting fact about like Filipino sets is that instead of like insurance, sometimes we just have more manpower. So there
Mm,
was just so many people on set, and I think they like took turns a lot and like switching each other's out, and
okay.
some
That's
people
good.
could rest and the others would stay on it. So yeah,
Interesting. Interesting. Was the entire film crew Filipino?
yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. I
So
think
shot
we
in the
don't
Philippines.
have, I'm the whitest person who was on this production.
Oh wow. Okay.
To be fair, like I'm the only one who's like, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So you have machinations for a feature version of this. Are you starting to pitch that out? Where's sort of the process on that going?
Yeah, I'm currently still applying for like what's it called? A production initiative at the moment. But
Hmm.
after that, like I'm going to prepare everything for Tribeca and yeah, have a pitch ready and everything so that we can start meeting with producers and finding investors and then
Yeah.
we can start going.
All the wonderful trappings that come from trying to get a film actually
Yes.
made.
Hmm.
And then
Especially a first time film. It's just like I don't actually know what I'm doing. So
we never do. We never do. We're all just trying to figure things out.
yeah,
I self-funded my first film, so I was
that's
like,
amazing.
I just want to make it right, and
Yeah.
that's a long road you're going down, right? And
Hmm.
I'm sure you've been told by many people. Like, I think you're in a good place. Obviously, having a Tribeca entered film and showing film and whatnot, I think you're in a good place. But it's a long road to
Yeah.
go, even for yourself and the film. Obviously, it's a really good proof of concept, and I think
Hmm.
you'll have good success with it. Especially, I imagine you want to shoot the film in the Philippines, right? Like that's your
Hmm.
intent,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think,
I mean, it split it up, maybe pre-production somewhere else or whichever works best. Yeah.
right. Well, I mean, in terms of the larger story, would there be more maybe globetrotting involved? Like, would she go from the Philippines to America or to someplace else? Is that kind of like your idea for a larger concept of the film?
Yeah, I think I want to break more into the mixed race topic of it, of what it feels like to have two cultures in one. And so we would feature, probably Europe a bit more and have an exploration of those two. And again, look at it kind of metaphorically through the fighting and
Yeah.
seeing how the styles meet and how they combine and how the clashing of the worlds looks like. Because it's something I hear a lot when people ask me where I'm from, and I say I'm Filipino German. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's a nice mix," but at the same time, it is a very opposing mix too. So I think it's very interesting to look at, how these cultures meet.
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like you explore in the film. In the Philippines, you're too white. In Germany,
yeah,
you're probably too dark, right? So it's like you can't win.
exactly.
Um,
Um, yeah, but we also funded it completely with Kickstarter
oh, that's
initially. So
great.
we didn't have any own, like I don't have the funds. So
No,
we
of
just
course.
fundraised with support of friends, family, and then martial arts fans. Yeah, who were a big part of like supporting that, I think.
That's awesome. Well, I think it's a very important story, and I think whenever you can kind of broach a somewhat difficult subject in a way that people can all relate to, like who doesn't want to watch a good fight scene, right?
Right?
I think that's a great way to kind of put the canary in the coal mine and be like, okay, you're gonna get lesson on racism, but it's through the package of a fun, exciting martial arts film. Is that okay? Like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Just
Exactly.
hit each other real hard. So that's great. That's great. Well, how does it feel to be in Tribeca One? And besides this film, is there anything else that kind of you're working on?
I don't know how it feels like to be in Tribeca because it's still ahead. I just feel like it's unreal. I will have more answers to that question once I'm there, but it just feels, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I've been to Cannes as an actor, but I've never been at a festival as a, writer director. So yeah, we'll see, I guess. I mean, I think it's going to be exciting, and I'm of course like super honored and grateful, and it's incredible. And yeah, next up I'm working on another feature which is like a dark rom-com.
Ooh,
Also action elements and
of course.
adventure elements, but yeah, kind of like taking a spin on the different genres with my take.
There you go. Well, awesome, Isabel. Thank you so much for your time and taking time out to talk with us today. Before we say goodbye to you, is there anything else you'd like to add or point people toward?
I guess just what you were kind of talking about. It's a long journey, but like we can anyone sounds exaggerated, but we can do it. And if we, have a vision, I think we should definitely share that with other people. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Isabel Lamars. Their film is Kaya. It's playing in Tribeca. If you happen to be there, go check it out. If not, I'm sure it'll find its way online at some point in the future. So, definitely a film worth watching. And I wish you all the best as you go towards your feature film endeavors. And I hope that works out for you.
Thank you, Dave.
All right. Have a good night and have a great day. And hopefully, if I see you at Tribeca, I'll say hello.
Okay,
All
awesome.
right.
Thank you so much.
Have a great one. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.